Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Kudos Awards ceremony. I'm David Molina, co-chair of the Santa Cruz County Commission on Disabilities, and I'm honored to be here with you all today. Thank you for joining us to recognize and celebrate the incredible people in our community who are making a difference in the lives of people with disabilities. The Kudos Awards were created to shine a light on individuals and organizations who are helping to make Santa Cruz County more inclusive, more accessible, and more welcoming. Today's awardees include advocates who speak up for equity and inclusion, journalists who amplify the stories and experiences of people with disabilities, and volunteers who demonstrate the true meaning of inclusion through accessible sports programs. Each of them brings something powerful to our community: leadership, creativity, commitment, and heart. We're here today to celebrate their impact and say thank you. We're also gathered here on a very meaningful date, July 26th, the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The ADA was signed into law on this day in 1990. It's one of the most important civil rights laws in the United States. It protects the rights of people with disabilities and helps ensure equal access to employment, education, transportation, housing, government services, and public spaces. The ADA was only made possible by decades of activism led by people with disabilities who demanded dignity, fairness, and equal opportunity. It helped reshape the physical world around us, but more importantly, it reshaped our understanding of access and civil rights. To help us reflect on that impact, we'd like to start today's program with a short film. The, next, the Netflix film is called How the ADA Changed the Built World, and it features powerful stories and voices, including excerpts from the Academy Award nominated documentary Crip Camp. Let's take a moment to watch the film.
Take one every day, but you probably haven't thought about the layout of an elevator, unless you're a person with a disability. Chances are that you don't really think about any of the human-made physical structures you access each day. Architects and engineers refer to these things and spaces as the built world. It's a world that determines how we live and where we work. You might not have noticed, but much of that physical environment has quite literally been shaped by laws that protect the rights of people with disabilities. Before these laws were passed, places like restaurants, doctors' offices, and schools were not made with disabled people in mind. Being met with barriers such as stairs, narrow doorways, no curb cuts made it difficult, if not impossible, for many people with physical disabilities to access these spaces. Inaccessible buildings and transportation provided a routine reminder that the built world was made strictly for the non-disabled. But all that partially began to change with the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, specifically with the enforcement of Section 504 that prohibits federally funded programs, agencies, and buildings from discriminating against disabled people. Section 504, as it is commonly known, also paved way for the historic signing of the ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act, in 1990. As chronicled in Crip Camp, it took years of relentless advocacy and protest before these laws were passed, and much of it was organized by a group of disabled teenagers who met at a summer camp in upstate New York, Camp Jened. And thanks to these former campers and many other leaders, our built world changed. Among the long list of things the ADA accomplished, like protecting against employment discrimination, it is now a legal requirement for our physical landscapes to be architecturally accessible to disabled people.
Well, before the ADA and even the passage of the regulations, 504 regulations, it was really, really tough. Anything that I really wanted was at the whim of other people.
We couldn't come into the movie theater if we couldn't transfer out of our wheelchair. We had no expectation of accessible bathrooms. Our expectations basically were low.
In some cases, the change measures in inches. In other instances, entire new structures have been created.
The experience of making this film has radically changed the way I view the world around me.
You've already seen the ADA's impact on our built world. You just may not have noticed it. For instance,
our tax money was going into buses and trains, but we couldn't get on it.
I also grew up in New York. I used to subway a lot. I used to go to subway climb up and down the steps. I was more worried about the police. I was more worried about the police than I was about getting up and down because the police would stop us.
Did you understand?
No.
So the subways in New York were not accessible at that time. But Neil was able to get around. And what he would do is he would frequently go up and down the stairs on his butt. And the police, instead of helping him, would frequently tell him he couldn't do it. So denying the right to transit.
So before the ADA, most people with physical disabilities couldn't access public transportation. It meant that many people couldn't even leave their homes. But nowadays, public transportation has become accessible for many, adding features like ramps, accessible seating, and elevators in some subway stations. The ADA also has provisions for streets and sidewalks. They can be inaccessible to wheelchair users and people who are blind or low vision. You know those small ramps you see everywhere built into the pavement? Those are curb cuts, and they're meant for a disabled person to safely navigate the streets, not just for your scooter. So now, not only can a wheelchair user easily maneuver between the sidewalk and the street, but a blind or low vision pedestrian can also know when they've reached a street.
And ask anybody who's pushed a stroller how much easier it is to use a curb cut.
Parking lots, too, have been transformed by the ADA.
When I got my car at the age of 17, there were no handicap parking spots. And so I had to find locations where I could get my wheelchair in and out of my station wagon.
It's totally different now. For every 25 parking spaces in a lot, at least one needs to be for accessible parking. And some of those accessible parking spaces must be wide enough for a person with a disability to safely exit a vehicle. And by the way, those reserved parking spaces also follow ADA rules. But what about buildings themselves? Not only were public spaces inaccessible for people with disabilities, but often there were architectural barriers in their private homes as well.
I grew up in a home and I lived on the second floor of a water apartment building, and my parents never thought about moving. My parents thought that the only alternative was to make me walk. And so I spent years and years and years without a wheelchair, walking on crutches, and it really wasn't the best way for me to get around, but it was the only solution that my parents and therapists and non-disabled people had for somebody like Mitch.
Just simply being able to get into businesses where, there's a step up. And so I couldn't get into many places.
But that ramp you usually walk past on a regular day? Yep, that was installed as per the ADA because stairs just don't work for everyone. Ever wonder why there's usually a static door or a gate next to a revolving door? That's right, to make it easier for a person in a wheelchair to access the building. But once inside, a building's interiors could also be a barrier for people with disabilities. Take bathrooms, for instance.
Yeah, I can get into your restaurant, but, I want to be able to hang out there for a while. And if your bathroom is not accessible, it's really kind of a no-go for me to be there.
You know those wide bathroom stalls? They're not fitting rooms or places to do your yoga. Those were created to give enough room for wheelchair access. Also, for a wheelchair user, sinks that are too high without leg space are cumbersome. But by following the ADA guidelines, sinks can be installed at the right level to be accessible. And it's not just the buildings and the streets and transportation that need to be ADA compliant. It's the things you never consider. Like that elevator from before, you don't notice it while using it, but the usable parts are at a certain height from the ground to be wheelchair accessible. But here's the thing, it doesn't cater to a person who's blind. Our built world is therefore selectively accessible.
Many people who have a disability and are protected by Section 504 and the Americans with Disabilities Act don't see themselves in this law.
And it's incomplete. Like, not all subway stations have built-in elevators. For instance, only a quarter of New York City's subway stations are accessible. Similarly, restaurants far and wide have yet to adopt Braille menus for blind people. It has been 30 years since the ADA was signed, but its laws are yet to be universally applied to our built world.
I think that some people think that the ADA is, if we follow these rules, we're doing it right. The ADA is a floor, it's not a ceiling.
And that's a problem, because unless it applies everywhere, people with disabilities cannot fully participate in their communities.
If I have to feel thankful about an accessible bathroom, when am I ever going to be equal in the community?
A good first step is to begin thinking about disability rights as basic human rights.
Would you like to see handicapped people depicted as people?
Excuse me?
It can't just be on us as disabled people to be making these changes. It really has to be a societal change.
The ADA actually improves access for all. I mean, think about it. You've probably used the elevators in the subway station. There were some before the ADA, but now entire systems have them. And that's just one example of how we all benefit from the ADA every day.
I think one of the most beautiful things I learned about working on the project was this concept of universal design. And it's the idea that if you design something or you make something that works for all people, it's going to be better for everybody.
So, on any given day, when you do end up using an ADA feature, you have a generation of disability rights activists to thank for that convenience.
So you all have us to thank for this.
It's inspiring to see the strength of the disability rights movement and be reminded of what can happen when committed people come together and demand change. But even now, 35 years later, we know the work isn't done. Many people with disabilities still face barriers that prevent full participation, whether it's the lack of accessible housing, long waits for basic services, or being excluded from decisions that affect their lives. The ADA laid the foundation, but it's up to all of us to keep building on it. That's why today we take time to honor the people who are helping to carry this work forward here in our own community. The people we're recognizing today didn't ask for recognition, but they made a real difference, whether by writing stories that helped others feel seen, advocating for change, or showing what inclusion looks like in everyday life. So today, we say thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your dedication, and thank you for making Santa Cruz a better place for everyone. We're so glad you're here to celebrate with us. Without further ado, I'd like to begin by introducing Commissioner John Dougherty to present our first Kudos Award.
Thank you, Commissioner Molina. Can you hear me? Okay, so thank you. I'm honored to basically unwrap and present a great thanks. Well, it really is my great honor to present this award today to three very special members of our Santa Cruz community. Reporters Eric Sleeper and PK Hattis, and photojournalist Shmuel Thaler. My apologies, gentlemen. From the Santa Cruz Sentinel. For many years, Eric, PK, and Shmuel have helped tell the stories of people with disabilities in Santa Cruz County. And they've done it with care, with compassion, and with deep respect. Their articles, profiles, and photographs have opened a window onto the lives of people who are often left out of the public conversation. Thanks to their work, many readers have seen the creativity, joy, strength, and challenges that exist in our local disability community. What makes their work so special is not just that they show up to events and take photos or write a quick article. They take the time to listen. They capture moments with sensitivity and beauty. They bring forward stories that deserve to be told. Stories that help the public understand that disability is part of human diversity and that our community is stronger when we recognize and support that. Their courage has also helped raise an awareness about the work of nonprofits and community groups that support people with disabilities. That kind of press coverage makes a real difference. It keeps and helps these organizations to get attention, funding, and community support. It helps make sure that their services reach the people who need them. Through their journalism, Eric, PK, and Shumel have helped to shine a light on a part of our community that is too often kept in the shadows. And they've done it not with pity or sensationalism, but with dignity and insight. We also want to acknowledge the editorial team at the Santa Cruz Sentinel for supporting this kind of reporting. In a time when local journalism faces many challenges, it's powerful to see a newsroom continue to prioritize coverage that builds understanding and connection to our community. So, on behalf of the disability community in Santa Cruz County and all of us who have been moved and informed by your work, thank you. Thank you for telling stories that matter. Thank you for making people with disabilities more visible in our public life. And thank you for showing what good journalism can do when it is rooted in curiosity, empathy, and respect. Please join me in celebrating Eric Sleeper, PK Hattis, and Shumel Thaler for their outstanding contributions to our community. Yay!
Would you like to say a few words?
I'll be thrilled. I don't know if I can speak for all of us, but I think I can in saying that I know I'm really humbled by being here. You know, we have the privilege every day of amplifying stories that matter. And when, you know, I met Foster, say, many years ago when he was first, uh, you know, embarking on shared adventures. And I've known Steve for years, and the work they do is so inspirational to us. And we're just honored to be in this community that cares about that. You know, I've been at the Sentinel now for 38 years, and some of the most inspiring and important stories I've covered are about people with disabilities and access and things like that. And I said recently, a once great newspaper said, "Democracy dies in darkness." It was the Washington Post who said that, and I think that's what we have the honor, the privilege, and the responsibility to do as journalists in this incredible community we live in. So thank you so much. And I don't know if Eric wants to say anything. And PK had a family obligation, so he expressed his regrets of not being able to be here.
Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate the work that you guys have been doing for our community. I'd like to present our second Kudos Award that go to a couple amazing people, Rachel Marion Sumaki and Michael Rockefeller, for their outstanding volunteer work and steadfast commitment to children with disabilities in our community. For several years now, Rachel and Michael have poured their hearts out into managing and coaching the Challenger Little League program of Santa Cruz County, a unique and vital part of the National Little League. The Challenger Division provides children with physical and developmental disabilities the opportunity to experience the joy, camaraderie, and excitement of playing baseball, something every child deserves. Rachel is the team and league coordinator. She handles what could be described as a mountain of logistics, registration, uniforms, training announcements, running the snack shack. You name it, and she does it. Rachel brings more to this program than her organizational skills. She brings heart. She brings sensitivity. She brings a warmth in her interactions with every family and child that transforms a simple game of baseball into something deeply meaningful. Watching her with the kids and the families, you don't just see management, you see care, connection, and pure joy. And there's Michael, the head of the Challenger League program, uh, and truly the soul of the field. Week after week, Mike works with every child to help them do their best. He adapts the game to each player's needs and ensures that every child feels like a real ball player. Whether it's helping someone swing a bat, run the bases, or hear their name called over the loudspeaker, Mike is there, cheering them on. Because these kids and their families, this isn't just a game, it's the highlight of the week. It's a place where they're welcomed and celebrated, and where they get to feel what it means to be part of a team. As one parent said, the saying, they're all winners, has never felt more true than watching a Challenger League game. And it's because Rachel and Mike that this is possible. Their love of the game is undeniable, but even more powerful is their love for the kids who play it. Rachel and Mike don't just manage or coach, they create these experiences. They build this environment, and they do it all as volunteers, giving their time, energy, and hearts to lift up others. That's what Kudos Award is really about, honoring those who work quietly, generously, and effectively to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. There is one other I feel compelled to mention that was brought to our attention too late for this ceremony. It's vital to realize that all of these amazing things happen because the people in our community care and support programs like this. One exceptional example of this is Mikey Melanudo, a sophomore at the Monte Vista Christian School who played in Aptos Little League prior to playing high school baseball. Mikey went above and beyond this year by holding a fundraiser to support the Challenger team. He held a school hit-a-thon and raised $3,000. As Mike said, considering the times we are in, it warmed my heart that a teenager was willing to put such effort into helping others in our community. On behalf of the Santa Cruz County Commission on Disabilities and with gratitude from the entire community, thank you, Rachel and Mike, for being champions of inclusion, joy, and dignity. Your work is a gift to all of us. Please join me in congratulating them for their Kudos Award this year. Would you like to say anything?
Sure, I'll jump in really quick. Well, that was, I don't know about for you, Mike, but that was pretty remarkable. That was, the words were, I think everything that we do on Sundays, every time I leave, is like a gift. And so just hearing those words was like, I'm going to carry that like a sponge on my shoulder. And when I'm having a bad day, squeeze those words out, because that was pretty remarkable. Yeah, I'm humbled and I feel like it's an honor, but Jed, I have to tell all of you, Mike and I took this over about 5 years ago, and it is literally a gift that we get to be with these families, with the players and their parents. It is literally a gift. And every Sunday, no matter how tired Mike and I might be from our day ins and day outs in our own families, there's never a day that we regret that we like showed up to Challenger. It is just a gift. And being of service to these families, it really is. For me personally, it's what makes my life better every week. So I just, yes, very honored and humbled. And again, just the being of service and part of community. It's a gift to me, my family, as much as it is to the community. So thank you, Commission. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Mike, if you have anything.
You know, Rachel said it best. It's an honor, but it is my pleasure to be out there on Sundays, getting to play baseball with these kids. And as much as I may give to them, they give so much to me too. And, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I think about them almost every day. And it's a great experience. It's definitely a team effort. I have family that helps. Rachel has family that helps. And there's just no place I'd rather be on a Sunday afternoon. So it's a lot of fun for us.
Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate what you guys do for our community. I'd like to introduce Commissioner Rick Gubash, who will present our next award.
Thank you, David. And hello, everyone. Glad to see you. And I just want to add, I've been at a few Challenger games, and it is really pretty awesome. So glad to have been part of that. It is my absolute pleasure to present this award to 3 dedicated and incredible individuals: Henry Bertram, Andy Sturbins, and Eric Sturm. For more than 10 years, Henry, Andy, and Eric have led the Shared Adventures Archery Program on behalf of the Santa Cruz County Archery Club. That's over a decade of showing up month after month to give people with disabilities in our community the chance to try something new, to build confidence and find joy through the sport of archery. Archery may not be the first thing you think of when it comes to disability recreation, but for the people who've taken these classes, it's been life-changing. Many people arrive at their first session unsure of themselves, nervous, hesitant, and maybe even saying, I don't think I can do this. And at the end of the hour, they've hit their target. They've felt the spark. They've realized, hey, I can do more than I thought I could. For many, this program offers an experience they rarely get from the world around them. The word disability tends to focus on what someone supposedly can't do. So being in a space that focuses on ability, growth, and success is incredibly powerful. These moments help push back against harmful stereotypes about disability. But maybe even more importantly, they help people push back against their own self-doubt. When someone who's often overlooked or underestimated picks up a bow, takes aim, and hits a target and says, I can do this, it's not just a win for that moment. It's a shift in how they see themselves and what they believe is possible. That shift changes how they move throughout the world. And as they show up with new confidence and purpose, it always changes how the world sees them. And in turn, how it sees the disability community as a whole. What makes Henry, Andy, and Eric so special isn't their skill with a bow and arrow. It's the way they teach. They bring the perfect mix of patience, seriousness, encouragement, and care. They're not just instructors, they're mentors, and often cheerleaders. They treat every participant with respect and dignity. They create a space where people of all ages and abilities can challenge themselves in ways that feel safe, fun, and empowering. This program is a true gift to the disability community. So today, we thank you, Henry, Andy, and Eric, not just for your time and expertise, but for your hearts. You've made a lasting impact on our community, and you continue to show what inclusive, empowering recreation can look like. Please join me in honoring Henry Bertram, Andy Sturbins, and Eric Sturm for their outstanding commitment to the disability community and to the spirit of shared adventures. Thank you.
Eric, did you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. On behalf of Henry and Andy and myself, we're very humbled and honored to receive this award. We had no idea. As Andy told me earlier this week, our job is to teach archery. It doesn't matter what your ability or disability is. It's our job to make sure that you can shoot safely and come out and enjoy yourself. And that is our goal. We take everyone and anyone, and we want you to come out and shoot archery. We've been doing this a very long time, and we thoroughly enjoy shared adventures. As Mike said, for his Challenger baseball, we get as much out of it from our shared adventure participants as they get out of it from us teaching them archery. It's something we all look forward to once a month that we do for those 2 hours. So the third Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to noon at the archery range in De La Viega Park. If anyone wants to come out and see what this is about, we are there and we're happy to have you. So again, thank you from all of us.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the work that you do for our community. Next, I'd like to introduce John Dougherty to present our fourth Kudos Award.
Thank you, Co-Chair Molina. Kudos Award for Beth Stiles. It is truly a privilege to be here with you today to present a 2025 Kudos Award to someone who is a shining example of what this award stands for, Beth Stiles. The Kudos Award honors individuals who go above and beyond in championing the rights, dignity, and well-being of people with disabilities. And it's hard to imagine anyone who lives those values more fully than Beth. She is not just an advocate. She is a leader, a role model, and a powerful force for change. Beth has spent her life fighting for inclusion, equity, and respect for people with disabilities, both in her local community and across the state. Beth was born with a mild form of cerebral palsy and a learning disability. These challenges have affected how she communicates and how she navigated school and other systems. But instead of holding her back, those experiences gave her a powerful purpose. Early in her life, Beth learned how to speak up, not just for herself, but for others. She watched her parents advocate for her with love and determination, and over time, she became the one advocating for her neighbors, for her family, and now for people with disabilities across California. For more than 10 years, Beth has served on the California State Regional Advocacy Committee, where she uses her lived experience to help shape disability policy and ensure real voices are heard at the state level. Her presence in that space is not just important, it's essential. Here in Santa Cruz, Beth is an active member of the Supported Living Services Client Advocacy Group, where she helps amplify the voices of others in the disability community. She was also featured in a public video campaign, courageously sharing her story to help educate and inspire. Her willingness to be open, honest, and vulnerable has helped break down stereotypes and build understanding. Beth's advocacy shows up not just in public spaces, but in her everyday life. At the assisted living facility where she resides, she has spent years working to improve conditions for herself and everyone around her. She's written letters, spoken with staff, and pushed for changes related to cleanliness, safety, and food quality. She doesn't wait for someone else to fix things. She steps up and speaks out. She's also been a strong and loving advocate for her parents as they've faced health challenges and aging related needs. She's taken on difficult systems, helped manage complex decisions, and navigated elder care services with compassion and determination. In every case, she approaches the work with her full heart. Beth has also been a public educator. During Disability Awareness Month, she gave presentations at the Santa Cruz Library, sharing her personal story with neighbors, friends, and community members. Through these talks, she helped people understand what it's really like to live with a disability and how we can all do better to create an inclusive, accessible world. And now Beth is launching a new chapter. She's creating her own business, Styles Disability Advocates. With support from the paid internship program, she's developing a plan to offer one-on-one advocacy, education, and support to others with disabilities. Her goal is simple but powerful: to help people find their voice, stand up for their rights, and live full, independent lives. Beth doesn't wait for change, she creates it. She keeps showing up, even when it's hard. She speaks out, even when it's uncomfortable. And she leads by example, reminding us that advocacy isn't about being the loudest voice, it's about being the most courageous voice. Beth's work may not always make the news, but it has changed lives. She has challenged systems, empowered individuals, and created space for voices that often go unheard. She reminds us that every person, regardless of ability, deserves to be respected, included, and supported. So today, we honor Beth, not just for what she's done, but for who she is, and for the future she is building for others. Beth, thank you for your voice. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for showing us what bold, heartfelt, and fearless advocacy truly looks like. Please join me and the Commission in celebrating Beth Stiles' many contributions to the disability community. Congratulations, Beth.
Thank you. It's been a very challenging time for me. 16 leap years ago, I was born with a mild case of cerebral palsy. In today's world, you wouldn't have that problem. I lived with a very sheltered life up until I went to college and boarding school, that both of those were paid by my parents. But I learned as an adult that I needed to be on my own. And with a lot of friends, it was hard for me to make friends as a child, but now as adult, I know if I go to somebody like my friend Tracy, she's more than happy to help me find a way. And she's also helping me be a mentor with my business. A couple things that you left out was that I was for the 2025 year, 2024, I'm sorry, I was the council president at St. Stephen's Lutheran Church. And this was the first person with a disability in that church and beyond. Another thing is that I'm writing my own autobiography, and that is called The Good Times and the Bad Times with Living with Cerebral Palsy from 1960 to present day. And I'm getting help with that too. So I'm really quite busy. 5 days a week, I'm quite busy. Not only that, I hold down a part-time job at Santa Cruz Supported Living Services, which I am a client at, and I'm also a staff person. I've only been staff there for 3 years, but I've been a client for 9 years. When I went on social media recently, and one of the things that they showed me was a saying that I had written on, stating how I was very lonely and like like they are today. And I realized that that was when I first moved here, and I didn't have friends, and I didn't know where I was going at that point. So thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you so much for your contributions to our community. We all really appreciate it. Now I'd like to introduce Commissioner Jessica Liddy Hayford to present our next Kudos Award.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here. And Beth, you're such an inspiration. I wanted to recognize Griselda Aguirre. It's such a pleasure to be here today to honor someone who has such quiet strength, deep compassion, and steady presence. You may have who have made a lasting difference in the lives of many people. That person is Griselda Aguirre. Griselda has been a part of Community Life Services since 2013, and in that time, she has supported several people through some of the hardest and most important moments in their lives. She's helped people leave homelessness and find stable housing. She's supported folks through the loss of a parent, through the overwhelming responsibilities of managing finances, benefits, and medical care. In each case, she brings out not only her skill, but also a sense of calm and respect that helps people feel safe and seen. Griselda doesn't rush people. She doesn't make assumptions. She meets people where they are, and she walks alongside them, step by step at their pace, until they're ready to move forward on their own. Her impact goes far beyond checking off tasks or offering resources. She helps people navigate confusing systems like Social Security, the Housing Authority, and legal matters by making sure they actually understand what's going on. She takes the time to break things down in a way that's clear and empowering. And she doesn't give up when things get hard, even when there are disagreements or setbacks. She keeps showing up, keeps listening, and keeps working to find solutions that truly fit the person, not just the process. The result, people who are unhoused now have homes of their own. People who were overwhelmed by grief and responsibilities are now budgeting, cooking, organizing, and managing life more independently than they ever thought possible. And throughout it, they feel respected, not judged, not spoken down to, not treated with dignity. Sorry about that. That kind of support doesn't just help people survive, it helps them thrive. And while doing all of this, Griselda also earned her master's degree in social work while working full time. That's no small feat. It says a lot about her commitment to learning, her work ethic, and her deep dedication to serving others with excellence. Griselda also brings an incredible understanding of the social service system here in Santa Cruz County. She knows who to call, where to go, and how to cut through red tape. More importantly, she uses the knowledge to open doors for people she serves. But her impact isn't limited to her clients. Griselda is a mentor and a role model to her colleagues. She's someone others turn to when they need guidance, clarity, or support. Her professionalism, thoughtfulness, and steady presence have held the team together during stressful times. Griselda leads not with loud words, but with quiet actions, with reliability, with follow through, with care. Over and over, we hear same thing from those who work with her or are supported by her. She listens, she stays calm, she explains things clearly, she truly cares, and she helps people move forward in a way that feels right to them. For her years of service, her deep compassion, and the real difference she makes in so many lives, we are proud to recognize Griselda as a 2025 Kudos Award nominee. Griselda, you may not seek the spotlight, but today you're shining it on with a deep appreciation. Thank you for your heart, your strength, and your unwavering commitment to others. Please join me in celebrating and congratulating Griselda.
Thank you.
Yay, Griselda.
Want to say a few words?
Yes, I am truly honored to receive this award. It's a recognition of my ongoing commitment, and dedication to support adults with developmental disabilities, and this means a great deal to me. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to work with Community Life Services. It is an organization that welcomed me, but has also empowered me to make a meaningful difference. Through my role, I've had immense privilege of supporting, advocating, assisting individuals pursuing their personal and future goals. Whether it is helping someone to build confidence in social settings, access vital community resources, or gain greater independence in daily living, each experience has been profoundly rewarding. I am incredibly proud to be part of a team that upholds and values of dignity, inclusion, and the continued growth of every individual we serve and support. Thank you.
Thank you again for your work for the community. Commissioner Liddy Hayford, would you please present the final award for the day?
Well, hi everyone again. It is a true joy to be here today to honor someone whose heart, energy, and dedication have made a real difference in the lives of people with disabilities in Santa Cruz County, someone who truly represents what the Kudos Awards are all about. Today, we celebrate Becky Sheen. Becky has spent decades helping people with disabilities live full, meaningful lives, and she hasn't done this as part of a job. She's done it with deep personal care and a sense of purpose that shines through in everything she does. Becky is a lifelong resident of Santa Cruz County. She knows our community well, and our community knows her. Many people know her not only as a dedicated professional, but also as a warm and generous person who brings joy everywhere she goes. Becky has been part of a team at Community Life Services since 2019, and she has also contributed her time and talents to Imagine Supported Living Services. But her work with people with disabilities started long before that. In fact, Becky's journey began way back in 1988 when she first got involved with Special Olympics. That was over 35 years ago. Since then, she has continued to coach Special Olympics soccer and track here in Santa Cruz, bringing energy, encouragement, and fun to every game and practice. Becky's enthusiasm on the field is contagious. Whenever she's cheering someone on during a race or celebrating a goal, she helps people feel confident, included, and proud of themselves. But Becky's impact goes far beyond sports. Professionally, Becky is a certified nursing assistant and a licensed vocational nurse. She trained at the Career College of Northern Nevada and the University of Nevada, Reno. Her medical background gives her a strong foundation to support clients with both their health needs and their daily needs. Becky doesn't just check the boxes. She makes the time to get to know each person. She listens, she pays attention, and she adapts to what each individual needs in order to succeed. That's one of the things that makes Becky so special. Her person-centered approach at Community Life Services. She is known for being both friendly and fierce. Friendly in her kindness and fierce in her determination to help her clients achieve their goals. But Becky also brings something else that not everyone can: personal experience. Becky is a proud mother of an adult son who is on the autism spectrum. This gives her a deep and personal understanding of what families go through, the challenges, the joys, the hopes, and the hard days. She knows it from the inside, and because of that, the families she works with trust her, lean on her, and feel seen by her. Becky's colleagues describe her as a beloved ally, not just to clients, but also to families. She is someone people turn to when they need guidance, encouragement, or just a listening ear. Becky doesn't seek the spotlight. She doesn't do the work for awards. She does it because she cares. She believes in the value of every person she meets, and she brings out the best in people, not by pushing them, but by standing with them and cheering them on every step of the way. Becky has touched so many lives through her coaching, her care work, her friendships, her mentoring. With Becky in their corner, they were made to feel stronger, safer, more included, and hopeful. Today, we thank you, Becky Sheen. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying committed. Thank you for leading with heart. Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do for the disabilities community. You have made a lasting difference in so many lives, and today we're proud to give you the recognition you richly deserve. Congratulations, Becky.
Thank you. I truly love the work that I do, and I really appreciate the guidance that Community Life provides me with each individual person. And I feel like we're all a team, and that as far as everything else goes, it's just brings so much joy to me to work with adults and children with disabilities. When I was little, fourth grade, I was placed in the special day class to learn how to tell time because I hadn't learned how to tell time yet. And that's when I got my first real experience. And oddly enough, that same time period, we had a student teacher come in and teach us sign language. And I just grew, and I wanted to know so much more about the community and sign language and how I could be a part of it. I one day dreamed that I was going to own a store and I was going to have adults with disabilities working in that store. That still may come, but now my dream is that I can have people all inclusive and they have taught me so much in my journey. I've learned so much, and it's just a joy to be with the community. So thank you for this award.
Thank you again for everything you do for the community, and thank all the award recipients today. You're the kind of people that make Santa Cruz the greatest county to live in. Before we wrap it up, I want to thank you all for being here with us today and to offer a special congratulations to our award recipients. Your work reminds us what the ADA is really about. It's not just about ramps and elevators. It's about fairness, opportunity, and being included in every part of life. Whether you're sharing stories, speaking up for change, building a community, or showing what's possible through action, you're helping create a stronger, more inclusive Santa Cruz County. To thank everyone who joined us today, thank you for being part of this celebration. We hope you'll leave feeling inspired to support disability inclusion in your own lives, your own workplaces, and your neighborhoods. Congratulations again to all of our honorees. We're so proud to recognize you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to see you again at our next Kudos Awards. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of Sunday weekend.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
All the awardees.
Beautiful speeches, everybody. I'm touched.
Very much so.
Thank you for coming.